Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hey, the boss. Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gauravan, Pacharane, Nirvisesa Sonya Vadi, Pasutya, Disatari. Vancha Kalpa Taribya Cha, Kripa Sundubya, Eva Cha, Patitanam Pavinabhyo, Vaishnavibhyo, Namon. So, I'd like to welcome everyone to this Janmashtami talk on with Krishna. This is a choice topic and relevant to the season, because we are just about 2 days to Janmashtami, and we need to talk something about Krishna, and specifically our relationship with Krishna is very apt, it's very appropriate. So first, for the sake of those who might not know, and I don't like to talk in a vacuum, I like to be personal, so I like to give some synopsis of my social and spiritual identity. Is that okay?
Yes, Maharaj. So sorry for not that. Yes, perfect.
So, my name is, like most of you know, my name is Bhakti Vasudeva Swami. I was born in Nigeria. I joined the movement in Nigeria. And in 2004, I was invited by political scientists in the United States to come to present papers at their annual conferences. So I went to the US, and the first paper I went to present, basically what I do is I integrate the Vaishnava philosophy in my academic development. In other words, I use the Vaishnava philosophy in providing solutions to leadership and management issues in the academic community. So in this way, my preaching has been focused on professionals in academy, professors. I publish in peer-reviewed journals. I have over 35 publications now in peer-reviewed journals using the same team, mostly on financial crime. And so you can imagine how a Swami should be publishing in financial crime journals. It's not religion, okay? It's not philosophy. So these are the type of difficult jobs that I do on behalf of Prabhupada, on behalf of the movement. So I was invited by US political scientists. 2004, I went to Georgia Political Science Association to present a paper, a research paper on kleptomaniacs and Nigeria's political destiny. The paper was highly appreciated by the professors. And then in 2005, in February, I went back to the US and 5 conferences. And within 6 weeks, I had to go to 5 different conferences. And after those presentations, some devotees wanted me to stay behind to help with academic in the East Coast. So that's how I ended up staying in the US, became a citizen, and that's it. But I am part of the African soil. So I've been to your country, South Africa, a couple of times, and I hope to be there again sooner or later. So today, our basic concern is our relationship with Krishna. So people talk about relationships. It's such a big topic in the global village. Relationship. If you have to fill a form, or if you go to any social media, you want to sign up for any social media, one of the basic questions you're going to be asked is relationships. You in or not? But the point is, my challenge to that is that that there's no need for an intelligent person, a spiritually intelligent person, does not need to ask that question for one to sign up on a platform, because all of us have a relationship. And that original relationship is endemic, is inherent right from birth. Even before we are born, that relationship is there. So that relationship with Krishna is something that, we need to uncover in devotional service. So all of us, we do have a relationship with Krishna. All of the relationships we have in the material world are, this is my wife, this is my friend, or my servant, or my master, or my parents, or my child, or whatever. These relationships we have in the material world are perverted relationships of what is available in the spiritual world, in our original abode. We do have that, all of these relationships with Krishna. So depending on one's original relationship, one could uncover that at the time of perfection. So first of all, we have five major relationships. And those 5 relationships are very, very dominant in the pure devotee's relationship, pure devotee's interaction with Krishna. And so we have the first one is the neutral relationship, technically called Santa Ras. Santa means that, we are like in a mood of reverence, Yeah, when you see this person, you're just in the mood of reverence. You can't really get close to the person. You're just Santa, like we have, even the trees, they have a relationship with Krishna. Their relationship is in the mode of Santa. They can run around with Krishna in the forest, in the groups. So every embodied entity, embodied soul, has a relationship with Krishna. And therefore, it is important for us to understand our different relationships. And in the Santa Ras, one has a perfection in all reverence. You don't get close to Krishna. And in that very mood or that relationship, individual appreciates Krishna's greatness, Krishna's opulence. And that's it. Like the trees. The trees do have a relationship with Krishna, but they can't really express it in another way than that appreciation from within, based on Krishna, how they perceive Krishna's greatness. And beyond the Santa Ras, we have another rasa, which basically is that means that one has come to a platform where one can be a servant of Krishna. Like, people like to become bosses. And people are proud. For instance, if you're the servant of the president of South Africa, or the personal servant of the president of South Africa, it's a big pride. So that's not something new. If being a servant of the president of South Africa is a big pride, what about being a servant of the president of the whole cosmos, or the 3 worlds? The president of a servant of Krishna. We can see how that we can see the greatness of that very status. So one can be a servant of Krishna, and we have a number of cases. If you read in Krishna Lila, you find his servants. Everyone has got some opportunity to be able to serve. And especially in our initial worship of the Lord, in our devotional culture, our mode is actually not even that of a servant. We are in a mode of awe and reverence. A servant, in most cases, a servant doesn't go to the master and pay obeisances. They just go to serve. They have some closeness. So they just go to do the serve, that they go to serve the master. Or, okay, for instance, even a barber is a servant of the master. And so the barber who is serving the client or the customer or serving the client doesn't have to bow down to the person that is barbing the head. But the barber is a servant. And no matter how big you are, you may go to the barber. And the barber has the opportunity to head this way, or if it's a rolling chair, it will roll you over here and roll you over there. So this is the mode of the servants. The servants, in a sense, they control even the master in some cases. Not explicitly, but implicitly, they do control the master, because they will tell the master, turn this way, or they will turn the chair this way. Or they will move the master is sitting on the chair. They brought some prasada, and then a roll here, and then they will roll the master in this way or that way to be able to fit onto the table. So the servant actually controls the master to some degree. We are very proud that we are bosses, but in a sense we're proud that we are being served. And the servant does control us in some ways, unspokenly. So, being a servant of Krishna is a very important status. And the devotee also does have that type of relationship. And if someone is naturally in its original position as a servant, he enjoys that relationship, serving the Lord in all capacities. Now, the other aspect or the next phase of the rasas is something really, something really sweet. A friend. Huh? So, okay, with someone, you can really not only try to call the person, but you can love the person. You can express your love to the person. You can do so many things to the person. The person can consult you, figure out from you what to do at a particular situation. So Krishna also has friends. We have like Subal and all this. I remember one time, they were in the groups, and Krishna just looked at one of his friends, Subal, and he told Subal, "Hey Subal, you go and bring Radharani right here, right now." That is a friend. You can tell them anything you want to tell them. But, sometimes we take friendship for granted. But friendship, that relationship is also there in the spiritual world. It's there as our original relationship with Krishna. And in most cases on this planet, people don't. And what does a friend? How is it? How do we make friends? How do we sustain that friendship? Now, if we look at it very deeply, Krishna's companions. Okay, for instance, a friend can be available to assist you at your time of need. That is a friend in need. So to say, is the actual friend, is the real friend, is the friend indeed. So here, Krishna needed some assistance, and he just ordered Subal, hey Subal, go and bring Radharani. And you know, to go to Radharani's husband Abhimanyu's house, she is being watched 24/7 by the in-law and by the mother-in-law and the sister-in-law. So Krishna asking his friend Subal, go and bring Radharani at a very odd time. It's like a task that if we are asked to do something impossible by our friend, we will say, hey, wait a minute, you don't know that that is not practical, that is impossible, but that is the love that Krishna's friends have for him. They will do anything, they will take any risk, reasonable risk, because they know that Krishna is there to inspire them, to empower them, to do what is the needful to accomplish that goal. And so like in the case of Subal, when Krishna told him to go and bring Radharani, it's like, I would say, comparatively, I would say it's like someone asking a person to pass stool and not a drop of urine should come out. It should not pass even a drop of urine. You know, Prabhupada told a story about someone who, another person's house to try to defecate, and it was an arrangement. And then the host, he said, yes, I can allow you to defecate, but you just make sure you don't pass one drop of urine, otherwise I will kill you. So asking Subal, my point is, asking Subal to go and bring Radharani is just another impossible, materially speaking, it's an impossible task. But, you know, I mentioned this story, so let me just quickly go into the background of it, scoop out the stuff there. How when we execute the will of a friend, we can get so much of a sustainable relationship. We can get so much of empowerment, even from the devas. So when Krishna told Subal, he trusted Subal. A friend is somebody you trust. There are different types of friendships. There are people that just hover hover around you as a friend because things are good. But that's not a true friend. That's not a true friend. The true friend is the one who is there when you needed their help the most. So Krishna needed Subal's help, and he told Subal, please go bring her. So without even a question, Subal went. Without asking a strategy on how to do it. Subal went. This is the beauty of friendship. A friend, a real friend, when the other party is in need, they crack their head to figure out what to do to help out. It's different from asking the person who is in need, what can I do to help? No, you have to crack your head to figure out what to do to help out. That was what Subal did. So Subal went, and when he went to the gate, Abhimanyu's mother-in-law was there. Abhimanyu's mother was there. Radharani's mother-in-law was there. And then he told something really funny. He told something. He presented that which was really funny and so automatic. He said, I lost my calf. So can I go to a barn to find out if I lost my calf straight into a barn? So Abhimanyu's mother looked at him, and he knows Subal is Krishna's friend, so he doesn't trust him. She doesn't trust him. So she just told him, all right, I give you some few minutes. Go to the barn and check if your calf straight into the barn, and quickly do what you want to do and come out quickly. So this is taking risk. You see, listen, another point here is taking risk for a genuine, authentic friend. This is the nature of Krishna's friends. You see, so we read these stories sometimes presented Krishna Chakravati Thakur, but in some cases, in most cases, we are everyday realities. So Subal had a chance to access into the yard, and then straight he went to the barn. He went to the barn and picked up one calf, and then went straight to Radharani's chambers. And when he went to Radharani's chambers, Radha was there with all of her Gopi friends. They were amazed how Subal was able to penetrate that gate and come to Radha's chambers. So, immediately Subal gave his mission. He said, see, Krishna wants you right now. Taking risk for a friend. Krishna's friend took risk. So then, Radha said, how is it possible? You know this is very impractical, not possible. That woman is there on the gate. Don't you see her? He said, yes, he's there. He's there on the gate. But listen, this is what you have to do. Look at the strategy. Give me a dress. Give me a sari, your dress. I'll put on your dress. You put on my dress. And use this calf to put on your chest so that your mother-in-law does not notice that you are not Subal. Idea is to use the calf to put on it on the chest to cover Radha's breast so that there's no alarm. And then that was executed very successfully. And so Radha was able to go meet Krishna in the groups. So Subal took very terrible risk for the love of his friend. And because he took that adventure, Krishna also empowered Subal, empowered his friend to accomplish the goal. So this is the beauty of friend of Krishna. If we really have established that, if we establish that original relationship, execute any service Krishna has given to us. But here's a warning. People talk about rasas, and especially when people come to Vrindavan, they meet these Vrindavan, some of these sadhus in Vrindavan, who purportedly tell them that, I can reveal the original relationship with Krishna right now. So you just, be my follower. And therefore, people who are not really trained in terms of spiritual maturity, they should not come to Vrindavan. Because you will be misled in some cases. And so, let's get back to the rasas. Being a friend, when perfected, each and every one of us, we do have a relation with Krishna. And when perfected, that relationship will be revealed. It's not so cheap that somebody has to reveal it to you because they want you to be their follower. And so our devotees have to be careful. We read these things and then we want to, I want to know if I'm in the Madhurya Ras. And this sadhu, this Babaji said he's going to help me to put me on that platform. It's not so cheap. It's not like it's taking some halava from the restaurant, from Govinda's restaurant. To realize our original relationship is not so cheap. So we should cultivate bhakti under the guidance of a spiritual mentor, a spiritual master, who will lead us step by step, how to become dedicated servants of the servants of the servants of the Lord. And sometimes, people outside of ISKCON, they deceive a number of our devotees, excuse me. They tell them, oh, Prophet didn't reveal this to you. You come to me, be my follower, and I will reveal this to you. Prophet did not say this, so you come. But even the basic things, and I've seen a number of people like that. So we want that relationship with Krishna to be revealed to us without working hard for it. So it's a sham. It is something that we have to cultivate gradually under the instructions of the spiritual master in the company of devotees, and gradually we'll be able to develop that higher principle. I want to become perfected. Our original relationship will reveal to us. We don't need to go and pay somebody, or we don't need to go and take incentives from someone, or so we don't need that to be able to reveal. That means that becomes very artificial. It is something that naturally you become gradually purified, and when you become perfect, that original relationship will be revealed. So apart from being a friend of Krishna, if you read Vishwanath, you have a list of Krishna's friends. Even in Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami mentions a number of Krishna's friends. And so those relationships, and what we have in the material world, like I mentioned, is just a perverted relationship of the original relationships that the next rasa is Vasalya. Vasalya means that one can be a parent of Krishna. Can't just see how juicy that could be, that you're a parent of Krishna. And but finally, in the case of Nanda Maharaj would tell Krishna to bring his wooden shoes from the bedroom. And Krishna, a little boy, who carries Nanda Baba's shoes on his head. Imagine, your devotion could be so pure that God, Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead, if you asking someone to go and carry your shoes, then basically, implicitly, they're serving you. But it's not so easy. It's not so easy. It's not so easy for one to attain that stage where one can become this exalted position of being a parent of Krishna. If you look at the background, at the backdrop of all of these personalities, parents of Krishna, you see, if you read about Devaki and Vasudeva, if you read about Nanda Baba and Yashoda, in the previous, they have cultivated a lot of austerities in the previous lives before Krishna awarded them the opportunity to be his parents. So it's not so cheap. If someone just comes to tell us, well, just be my follower, and I will make you a parent of Krishna. Then that's a smoke screen, which calls for caution. And so the Vasilyas, we see the case of Devaki and Vasudeva, and then we see also Yashoda and the Maharaj. They had a very wonderful rapport. They have a chance. Nanda and Yashoda, they had a chance to be at the beck and call of Lord Krishna. They are watching all of his activities. When Krishna was born by
It's hanging a little bit there, Maharaj. Okay.
But that does not diminish his supreme personality of God. His Godheadship. The priesthood does not diminish it. In fact, he gave him an opportunity to be able to perform wonders, to demonstrate to the so-called parents that, yeah, I am the supreme personality of God. When Krishna appeared appeared before his parents, he appeared in, 400 form, gigantic form, big one, adult size. And the mother has a bag. Please, we can, resonate with your presence. And Krishna obeyed. He told the baby. This is to show how the obedience to parents that we find among children is a demonstration, is a reflection of Krishna's obedience or submissiveness to his parents. Otherwise, he appeared in a vision form, and then, who are you to tell me I should become a baby? He could say, hey, come on. What do you mean I should become a baby? This is what I want to do. This is how I want to appear. This is how I want to be. But no, he came for a particular purpose, for a particular leader. And that demonstration, he was acting like an ordinary child. Acting as an ordinary child means that the child is submissive to his parents. You find that when Krishna appeared in the prison, and the parent, Devaki requested that he should talk to a baby, Krishna willingly submitted to that plea. So just see, even Lord Krishna, he obeys his although he's a supreme personality of God, he obeys his parents. We read these stories now, is it not? How do we apply it to our daily lives? Submissiveness, yeah, that's demonstrated by the Lord in his Vasalya rights. So beyond the Vasalya rights is the Madhurya, which is among the 5 primary stages of primary rases. Madhurya is considered the most exalted souls who have attained that platform or who are of that platform. And those on the platform of Madhurya, we see Madhurya means a relationship that is not really, it's not a formal relationship. It's not a formal, it's an informal relationship. An informal relationship based on conjugal love is higher than anything you can think of, because these are people who sacrifice their comfort, who sacrifice anything to give Krishna. So we have typical example, we have the gopis. So the gopis, I remember a typical story is when Krishna was having headache, so-called headache. And there was a search for someone who could give the dust from their feet. Because Krishna said, if I get the dust from the feet of my devotees, that is going to be the panacea, that is going to be the cure, the medicine for my headache. And so when some of the devotees were approached, they said, what? That's dangerous, man. Krishna's head, the dust from my feet, I'll go to hell. How can I do that? How can I do that? But really, they're not after their comfort. They are outside of their comfort zone. So we live in the devotees and we are in our comfort zone. In other words, we don't want our comforts to be interfered with. But with the gopis, they need to do anything and everything for Krishna, not minding what type of consequences they may incur. And so a typical case here of the Madhurya rasis is when they report to Krishna that, reluctant to give the dust from your feet, the medicine you want, you're not getting it. So Krishna said, all right, go meet the gopis in Vrindavan. Go tell them this is what I want. And so they come to meet these gopis. And I explained to them, look, Krishna, this is a situation able to medicate his headache. So the gopis, they say, yes, 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 we're right. We give. So the gopis were questioned, don't you understand the implications of this? Don't you understand the implications of this? You're going to have to suffer for it. But the gopis, they said, we don't give a damn. We don't care. We're ready to go to hell. As far as this is what Krishna wants, as far as this is going to placate Krishna's headache, we don't mind. We don't mind going to hell. We don't mind suffering. As far as Krishna is pleased, we are satisfied. So you see the different categories of the different levels of devotion that we have when we review the five primary rases. So you may be on the Madhurya, but right now you don't know. You may be on the Vasalya ras, but right now you cannot say. You may be on Sakya ras, but you're not able to tell now because it's not. We have not perfected our existence to be able to get that revelation. Or even Dasya or Santa. But circumstances, high primary relationship gives us an insight on how the whole material world is revolving based on relationship that we originally have with Krishna. So the idea of coming to devotional service is to be able to revive our original relationship with Krishna, or to, perfect our existence, to endeavor to perfect existence, so that that original relationship, that rasa, we could really have that mellow, established, that we can relish it, we can realize it. Right now is there. So idea of devotional culture is a process where we are serving the devotees of the Lord. We are serving the community of the devotees with a view to purifying our existence so that ultimately we can come to that platform. Our purity will lead to that platform where original relationship with Krishna can be revealed to us. Yes, any comments or questions at this point?
Okay, yes, Maharaj. One question is, Hare Krishna Maharaj, how to understand the relationship of suffering in this world with Krishna's love for us?
With Krishna's love for us. Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
For the common human being and for the devotee is different. For those who are not on a path of devotional service, we see suffering as a curse. We see suffering as a crossroad where we should just commit suicide. We should just change our bodies. I mean, I'll give an example. Recently, there's a lawyer in America. So he was having cancer. He was having cancer. A lawyer. He was having cancer. White guy. And then the cancer is going to die of cancer. He is going to die of cancer. So I don't know what happened. There was a female justice. I don't know what really had transpired. But then this very guy, sovereign, he calculated, or he figured out that he doesn't want to die alone. He doesn't want to die alone. So he went to this justice home, pretending to be like a FedEx, this male Federal Express mail deliverers. And then he went there, knocked on the door, and the woman had only one son, 20 years old. And they just had his birthday, 20th birthday. So the boy came over to the home. And so they had that celebration just the previous night or so. And so that morning, this guy came in pretending to be like, a mailman. And then as he knocked on the door, rang the bell, it was this boy who opened the door. The father was behind the boy. And then the lady was also in the house, but I think she was downstairs also, in the basement or so. So immediately when the boy opened the door, this lawyer who is terminally ill of cancer, he fired the boy. He shot the boy times and killed him. And then he shot the husband of the lady about 3 times. One bullet went through the chest, all these things. The man did not die, but then the son died. So that's a typical case of someone who is suffering, and then he sees the suffering as a curse. And therefore, being a curse, why should I be the only one to suffer? Okay, I want to die with some other people. You know what he did? He drove off, and then he killed himself. He shot himself. He committed suicide. Suffering, no one likes suffering. But for the devotee, he sees suffering as a way of a means of purification. Now, this is the problem we have in the world, that people suffer and people are claiming that there is no God. If there is no God in control, why is someone suffering? Why is someone else not relatively suffering? Why is it that the sufferings are relatively different? Everyone is suffering in this world. Everyone has to pass through disease and old age, which is repleted with so much of pain. But for the devotee of the Lord, he sees suffering as a means of purification. I remember when I had a terrible accident in 1990 in Africa, in Nigeria. So look at it. I was the original secretary. In other words, a person who was to travel to all of the temples in the absence when they traveled out of the country. So then I proceeded a case, an ISKCON case. Some vehicles, and then we got him apprehended, and then the case was in court. Then I was rushing back. I was on a tour to the different temples, and I was rushing back on Sunday after giving a class in one temple. I was rushing back about 3 or 4 hours drive out in a public transport, public bus. I was rushing back to Lagos so that I can attend that court proceeding the next day. I had a terrible accident. And that accident, I had my bladder broken. so many damages were done on my system. But then, for an ordinary person, you could just say, why should I be suffering like this? But you know what? When my spiritual master came back, so Bhakti Vasudeva Swami Maharaj, when he came back to the country, you know what he told me? He said, Vasudev, you were on a crash program. What a crash program means? A crash program means ordinarily speaking, you have a long, a length of time to pass through a program. But then a crash program is everything is just packed up into one compartment or one small space, one little space of time, and you have to pass through all of that. And so for the devotee, it's like we are passing through a crash program. We have committed so many sinful activities from billions and billions of lifetimes, and only this one lifetime, we are trying to go back to Godhead. So we will have so many challenges. And so those packed challenges are more or less like a crash program that we have to pass through. So yes, a devotee also will suffer. That let me die and not die alone. I carry a gun, go kill some people and kill myself. Why should I die alone? So one must see suffering as a means to facilitate his exoneration from this material existence. Because suffering for us means purification. So as soon as we begin to see suffering as an overload material existence, we will be depressed, we will be frustrated, we will be so much disappointed, and we may cause harm to ourselves. And so, a devotee must see suffering as a means of accelerating in his devotional endeavor to be able to attain that status that will enable him to not come back to this material world. Because each time we have to pass through some type of challenges, whether it is physical health or whether it is environmental challenges or whatever, we have to understand that this is a test. This is the test of time to facilitate the acceleration of my exit from this prison. And that time we should cling on to the lotus feet of Prabhupada. Because that is what makes sense. That is what is reasonable. That is what is going to help to allow us to become an example for others so that we don't become deviants in a sense. Because when we don't face the problems squarely, the tendency is to even run away from devotional service because think, oh, it's just too much. I've been a devotee for 40 years. I'm still having to undergo this. Why am I still suffering like this? I've been a devotee for 50 years. Why do I have to pass through this? I thought the system is to facilitate. The devotional arena is not a place of peace. It's a warfare. You have to fight a war before you get peace. So we should not see suffering. We should embrace suffering and grow with it. We should accelerate our growth through any type of suffering that we may encounter. In that way, Krishna will be proud of us. If someone does not pass through some difficulties, well, where is the testimony that he is going to be able to motivate others when he sees others suffering? So it's a nice question. And we, especially those of us who are born in type of situations that is not very, maybe financially favorable, socially favorable, we may just have negative thoughts. But no, everyone is given a choice of factors. Does it make some sense?
Thank you, Ma. Yes. When it makes sense, you can click the thumbs up. We have another question.
Okay.
How does knowing the temporary nature of relationships in this world affect marriages and the commitment that devotees should have?
Can you repeat that?
how does knowing the temporary nature of relationships in this world affect marriages and the commitment that devotees should have in those marriages if they know it's all temporary?
Yeah, when we know that it's temporary, relationships we have in this world is temporary. Yes. But temporariness of the relationships in the material world also help us to grow in the sense that we don't become too much. Yeah. Oh, let me tell you one thing. Now, I had a cousin sister. We didn't meet for like maybe about 15 years or so. We never met. And the first time we met, I saw her when we used to meet at her grandma's place. Because she was a little girl. And I was in high school at that time. And so when I saw her, she's a grown-up woman. She's married to one professor who later was appointed, given a government appointment as a commissioner. And so I was a brahmachari at that time, young brahmachari. And so when I met her, first thing I said is, "What are you doing with your life?" She said, "Oh, she has graduated. She's married. She's married to this professor, and then luckily for them, they've given him some political appointment." So I said, "Okay, that's good, but you should not depend on this man because anything could happen. There could be divorce, there could be death. So you go for your masters." She was shocked. She was shocked the way I spoke. So she told me, because we used to act like little children and we still were acting like that. Then she wanted to challenge me. She said, she calls me bros. So, bros, if that's what you're saying, you go and bring the forms. Telling the brahmachari to go and bring graduate forms for somebody. I mean, it's just incredible. So, luckily for me at that time, one devotee, he was the vice chancellor of one federal university. And that devotee was very helpful to the temple. So I called him up, and then I told one brahmachari to go and collect some forms and then send it to this lady. So because she wanted to show that if you are committing me, what's your own commitment? When she graduated, after a year or so, I was speaking to her on the phone. I don't really meet my family members most of the time. I spoke to her on the phone. I said, "How is your husband?" He said, "Oh, bros, that man died." I said, "What?" He said, "He died." And then she said, "But I thank you, bros, because you forced me to go to graduate school and realizing the benefit of it. Or if not of that knowledge, it could be so difficult to manage the resources of this family and to be responsible to myself and the family." So my point is that if you marry a commissioner, you may lose him or her to death. And therefore, knowing the temporariness of our relationships in the material world, we should not be overly attached. That's my point. Anything could happen. But it doesn't mean that because everything is temporary and so we should not be congenial, we should not love people, we should be carefree. No, we should love people in such a way that if we have to die now, they will always be talking about us. So husband and wife, the same thing. We should take advantage of the temporariness of the relationships in the material world and try to understand that I should be there for my spouse. I should be there for my husband. I should be there for my wife. And no excuses. And sometimes devotees, they use the devotional life to their spouses or to their family. They feel, I have dated, I'm a pujari. I don't have time for husband. I don't have time for my children. No, according to Prabhupada, taking care of your children is the most important service to Prabhupada. Yes, it's a temporary relationship, but we have to understand what does Guru say about it. What does the scripture say about it? Taking advantage of the temporary nature of our relationship, we should love people as if we are going to die now. We should not procrastinate. What to do to facilitate someone's positive spiritual change. We should not hesitate to execute whatever that is within our reach to enable someone to transform their situations in a positive way. So yeah, the temporariness of the relationships we have in the material world, that should enable us to even create a deeper affection, a deeper loving relationship with our partners, with our spouses, with our children. I've seen a number of people, they use devotional life as a facade, not to be responsible to their family. But it should be the opposite. That's what Prabhupada wanted, is that we should be responsible to our family. We should take care of our children because these children are Krishna's children. Yes, it is temporary. We may die at any time, but now we are living. We should leave a legacy behind, that legacy of love for the family. How do we say we love Krishna when we can show that deep affection for our family member, for our spouse, for our children? So we have to see how we are taking advantage of the temporariness and act in a state of emergency of love. Act in a state of emergency of love, thinking, I'm going to die now. Let the love that I need to show to my spouse, let it be at its. Does it make some sense?
Yes, yes, it does much. So, thank you. The next question is from Paramahansa Prabhu. Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the wonderful class. How can we solidify our relationship with Krishna?
Oh, that's a practical question. To talk is one thing, to execute is another. So, how to consolidate or to solidify a relationship with Krishna is simple. Consolidate your relationship with the devotees in your community. Consolidate your relationship with the devotees in your community. The Kanista Adhikar, he is interested in just doing the puja. Let everyone see him or her. Hey, I'm so close to Krishna. I'm the pujari. And they don't care for anybody who comes around. And that is the lowest type of a devotee. Lord Krishna mentioned to Arjuna in the Padma Purana that those who claim to be my devotees are not my devotees. Those who are devotees of my devotee, they are the real devotees. So we should try to be taking shelter of each other. We should try to be service-oriented towards each other. We should be lovingly disposed towards each other. We should be caringly disposed towards each other. And that is how we consolidate our loving relationship with Krishna. Can you imagine if you have gone to see somebody or other, you encounter a child to the president of South Africa. You become friends. What? And then you buy something. You're not so much rich man or rich man, but you buy something for this child. How will the president feel He doesn't need your money. He doesn't need your gifts. He can buy anything for a child. But you did it out of love. He would ask the child, go and bring out your friend. Go and bring out your friend. Let me see him. So when we take care of the devotees around us, Krishna becomes very much enthused to help us even further to deepen. It's a nice question, very nice question, Paramahams.
Thank you, Maharaj.
You're welcome.
Amazing answers of all of us, I think. Yeah. There's a question from Bontle.
Okay.
Dear Bhakti Vasudeva Swami Maharaj, please accept my obeisance of glorious Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for the talk and the points that have been presented today. She has 2 points. First is appreciating your expanding on the value of relationships, particularly on the friendship rasa. In the Nectar of Devotion, it is mentioned that devotional service in friendship and self-surrender are rarely seen. I could kind of understand the self-surrender category, but your talk this morning has given greater understanding of the rarity of the friendship rasa. So thank you for that. 2, the points shared today also emphasize, therefore, how hard it is really to be a friend, to have a genuine relationship with others. We often think that we are, but not really, not always good friends. How do we not get despondent with our efforts to be friendly and genuine in our relationships with others? And how can we grow in this? There's so many questions. How can we find ways to constantly improve in our genuineness or sincerity in relationships with others? Thank you, Hare Krishna.
All right, thank you. I just give you a synopsis of what someone who was preaching to some group of people who was trying to get some clarification from me. He is preaching to some people, and his feeling is that, they're not reciprocated. He's giving their time to them, so much of their time, of his time, his energy, but they're not reciprocated. So he's becoming despondent. He's feeling, why should I go on doing this? So his question to me is it the right feeling? I said, no, it's not the right feeling. Because you're doing this for Krishna, but you are expecting, your despondency is based on the fact that you were expecting a reciprocation from them. But you are not serving them, you are serving Krishna, the medium. Because you are expecting them to reciprocate with you. You feel despondent because in most cases you don't get that reciprocation. I have friends who only meet me, who only come to me when they need when they need my help. And I understand that's their nature. I get along with that. So I don't say, well, you rascal, you're not reciprocating. Get out from my life. No. My only problem is if somebody is not following the standard Prabhupada has given to us. If someone is helping out in trying to do whatever they can, we should not be despondent because they don't reciprocate. We should be caring about the reciprocation from Krishna. What we are doing to anyone is basically a service to Krishna. So I mentored you to, you're now a PhD, you're now a doctor, you should be coming to give me some money. That becomes like, come on, Mr. Bhakti, Come on, Mr. Bhakti means I'm performing some devotional service, but, I have some frustrations. I'm helping Sadhu Sachi and you should come and help me. No, it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. When we genuinely serve, we will also encounter people. Krishna will also send people. Okay, I'll give you an example. See, I was mentoring one girl in South Africa from Durban area. So I know the family right here, they met me. So then when she graduated from the university, got initiated, so I backed out. I said, now you have to get connected deeper on a deeper level with your Guru Maharaj, so that consolidates the relationships that you're having with each other. Now, so for years, I really never had a chance to be able to speak with her, because also my head didn't allow me to come to South Africa. But, just some months ago, she approached me, she contacted me and said, oh, I want to do some service for you. I want to do some service for you. And so then I looked at it, the whole situation, that, okay, you want to do some service, that I cannot turn you back. And so that same young devotee, she collaborated with two other devotees. They all work in the financial industry. And then the other two, also, they know me very well. In fact, the one of them, the other female, had how at one of these camps that I went for these young devotees in South Africa when I came one time. And so I could, she sent me, actually, that devotee, she sent me a friend request on LinkedIn. So I looked at this person. I don't accept people when I don't know them. So I looked at this person, and then the name is familiar, and then I was reflecting, and I realized, oh yeah, I think I met this person with her sister, with her mom in this camp. So when a issue of this other lady, this other devotee came up, that she said she wanted to do some service, and then collaborated with them, with these other two devotees. So there was a conference call to prepare for some program. This program that I'm having on the 11th on racial justice leadership. And so, yeah, they came up with all of these things, that they want to do something. So when we having the conference call, so I said, I told you that Maharaj, that, yeah, I saw your friend request. I was thinking, where do I know this person? I'm careful, I don't accept people like that. So then I said, oh, I know you. I know you. I met you, sister, after all these years. So my point is, look, I've even forgotten these persons, but today they came up to say, we want to help you to do some service for you. Therefore, because there's some immediate gratification and there's some immediate turn, perhaps this wouldn't happen. Whatever we do, whatever service we do, whatever care we give to someone or a devotee of the Lord, we should think we are doing this for the sake of the Lord, and the Lord is the one who has to reciprocate with us. If we look at the devotee and say, well, hey, Sadhya Sachi, I do such and such to you, I do 100% to you, you reciprocate also, I scratch your back. It's no longer devotional service. And so we should understand, whatever service we render into the devotees of the Lord, we are actually rendering that service to Krishna. Krishna will reciprocate with us. And if you understand that principle and resonate with it, align with it, there will be no question of a gap in our service attitude, a gap in our relationship. So yes, someone may do something funny, someone may do. So I remember, see, I had a friend, a white guy, and this guy, I used to go, he used to ask me to come to his place. And I remember one winter, I said, in his place with him. I lived on his boat. I lived on his boat on the harbor in Boston. But, you know, recently, when I got locked down in Vrindavan here because of the coronavirus, so I was speaking with him. I was trying to get him to see if he could send me a ticket to come back. But then the questions he was asking me was very, you know, was very disrespectful. Of course, I do understand why, because he wants me to come to his new place, which is very far away. It's like coming from New York to India, distance. And my head is not going to travel like that. So instead of going to this new place, I feel I should come to India and get purification. He wants me to come to his place. So because I didn't go, and he is feeling offended, so I do understand. So he was being a little bit rude when he was speaking with me. But I just, you know, decided that, all right, let me not talk to him for now. When he gets home, in fact, I blocked him from communicating with me on my phone, on WhatsApp and all this stuff. So, but it doesn't mean that, you know, I didn't even tell anybody about it. Like just today, one white lady, one of my aspirants, you know, she was telling me that she was speaking with her friend, and her friend, I mean, I was with that guy, not my friend, and then when my friend heard over the phone, they were discussing about me, and then he said, "Oh, please, can you tell Maharaj to please just call me?" And I felt very much weak, okay, by that. But then, yes, I'll call him and explain to him that, look, the way after that day is not the way to act. To see, I don't mind. You can talk to me anyhow as a devotee, but I have another branch, another arm of life, an academic. We are puffed up. When you have a PhD, you feel that you know you're on top of the world. So you don't want someone to come and talk to you anyhow. So for a devotee, yeah, I mean, I have two lives, okay? The life of a devotee, the life of a devotee. Puffed up, but we don't. It's a bad thing that, you know, my Guru Maharaj wanted me to use that skill, that facility to preach. So my point is that when we are in a friendship with someone, there could be some altercations. It could be implicit, it could be explicit, it could be covert, it could be overt, but it means that is the end of the relationship. Somebody amongst the both parties realize they've gone wrong and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm because of this problem. How can I, tell me how best I can behave to be able to get along for us to become, again, well situated in our relations." In most cases, we have a gap in our relationship with people because we are not compassionate enough to identify our fault and rectify our own faults. We want the other person to revolve around our ideas. In other words, what is terminology in psychology called maladjustment. In most cases, we have a gap in our relationship because we are maladjusted. We don't want to adjust ourselves to suit the other person's purpose. We want the other person to adjust themselves to suit our purpose. Not everyone is going to be able to. I am very good in adjustment. When I first joined Tawako Temple, there was the brahmachari who was like giving everyone a head. And someone preached to me for 2 hours. Another devotee preached to me for 2 hours not to associate with that person, that brahmachari. So I thought, what the hell is this? I'm going to live in this temple with this person and I shouldn't have a relationship with him. No, I adjusted myself. We became friends. So my point is that to have a sustainable friendship, there is a price to pay. We have to be adjusted. The watchword is adjustment. We have to be adjusted to be able to suit the other person's purpose. That we will want the other person to be adjusted to suit the purpose. This is the watchword. If we are adjustive to suit the other's purpose, we will always maintain a very cordial, sustainable relationship and friendship. And when we are doing some service to our friend, we should not think, what am I going to get from this? When Krishna told Subal to go to give a very tasking service to Subal, he didn't ask, what am I going to get from this? He just went ahead. That is a friend indeed, an authentic friend. So we should be authentic friends to sacrifice our comfort for our loved ones. I don't know whether that makes some sense.
I felt that one of adjusting, not
What
for,
did you say?
for our own gain. No, for me, it made so much sense. I think others are on mute, so it's only I am commenting, but it makes good sense.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. There's maybe we. Oh yes, others said makes sense. Bontle, who asked the question, says yes, makes sense. Thank you.
Can you use your mic so that I can hear you? Can you use it so that I can hear you? Because sometimes your voice is so low.
Oh, me, okay. I think Bontle said yes, it makes sense. Thank you. She asked the question. Yes. So there's a comment from Tato, Hare Krishna. I don't know if it's a question, I think it looks like a comment. Sharing love and happiness through the word with devotees, loved ones, and friends like this, agape, eros, and philia relationships are established.
What's the question?
There's no question. I think he's just commenting that by discussing Krishna consciousness, then loving relationships are established. And he's using I think it's Roman names for different types of love. Agape, eros, and philia. Greek, yeah.
All right.
So then, then there's a question from Sinazo. Hare Krishna Maharaj, you spoke about serving and cultivating relationships with the devotees around us as a means to get close to Krishna. How do we achieve this when devotees don't seem to return the same affections?
This is
example, when sexism and racism is rife within the community.
Oh, okay. So is this a problem? Racism, sexism, discrimination based on race, gender, age, or whatever, it is against the law. It is against the law of the United Nations Charter. In the UK, the Racial Discrimination Act was put into law in 2010. In America, it's against the law. In South Africa, racial discrimination or whatever discrimination, whatever, is against the law. So the point is that people embark on this, and these are some of the things I'm going to discuss on 11th. I talk on racial justice. The point is, people know it's against the law. People are being imprisoned. People are losing their jobs because of racial discrimination, because of gender discrimination, because of whatever discrimination you can talk. It's against the law, it's a crime. People, why? Why is it that we know that this is even about the country? Get it? Forget. This is not about devotion. It's against the law of your country, of my country, of anywhere, any civilized country. It's against the law. And then the question is, why is it that people are still perpetrating or living on the platform of discrimination, racial discrimination? or Prabhupada will call it skin disease. One of the basic factors, and again, I mentioned, I will explore this in my webinar on the 11th. One of the factors that is responsible for this type of repeated history, I mean, it's like people are criminals. They continue to be involved in, although they've seen people criminals, yet you see people still commit crime. I remember several years ago, when I was a kid, I was in a country with my parents where armed robbery, the punishment for armed robbery, when you carry a gun, the punishment is public execution. Now, as a kid, as a teenager, I sneaked out of the house to go to the stadium to go and watch that public execution. Now, yeah, in the main city, I sneaked out of the house to go and watch the public execution. And what I still retain in my memory about that experience is that after the execution, armed robbers were executed public, and we were leaving the stadium. As we are going out of the stadium, at the gate, the police apprehended someone who was picking pocket. After seeing that stealing, robbery, people were executed, someone still right after that. Stole right after that. So, I mean, it's like what the Bhagavatam says, even after seeing, after hearing, being a partiality, after hearing, after seeing, still, it doesn't create a restraint to us. Now, why do people act against their better judgment? This is the point. So whether you're a devotee or a non-devotee or outsider, why do people act against their better judgment, act in criminal ways? Because racial discrimination is a crime. So the question is, why do people act against the better judgment? Why do people get involved in criminal activities like this? So Krishna gave the answer to this in the Bhagavad Gita. Kama esha krodha esha raja guna tamo mahapatma vidina ihavarina. It is due to lust only. When you see, again, Krishna mentioned the Gita, by contemplating on the object of the sensory modalities or object of the senses, one develops attachment. From attachment, one develops lust. And then the lust or the passion, the passionate desire to execute a particular thing, whether it is evil, whether it is a crime, it doesn't matter. That passionate desire pushes us to go and do something. So what Krishna basically mentioned is, all are prepared by lust. So someone can be masquerading as a Paramahamsa, but is he involved in antisocial behavior? Is he involved in activities that against the laws of the country, like racial discrimination, racial injustice, racial inequality? Is he involved in that? Or she? If they are involved in that, their spiritual status notwithstanding, they are impaired by lust. Now, let's go to the field of criminology. Now, in criminology, Gottfried and Hitchie in 1990 developed the general theory of crime. And the general theory of crime stipulates that all crimes and antisocial behavior are due to low self-control. You get it? Now, when you talk about low self-control, Rupa Goswami hints on this principle. Washu Vegam, Manasa Kroda Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udaura Pasta Vegam, Etam Vegam. You see that very text, it gives you a hint. And Prabhupada in his comment and translation, he mentioned that if someone is able to control all of these urges, you become a global leader. So if people do understand, if devotees do understand that what is available in criminology as a general theory of crime is also something that we could resonate with in our scriptures. Krishna mentions this in the Gita. Rupa Goswami mentions this in the Upadhyamrita. And if you read my works, my publications, especially in the field of financial crime, I publish a lot of works on kleptocracy, leadership by thievery or leadership by inappropriate standards in general financial crime. Published by things I do, I address all of these issues using the Vaishnava Vedantic approach. So the point is, you make a good point. People are being discriminated against. So how do we coordinate this type of professed relationship that is going to create about a revolution, a positive change in the global arena, in our communities, in our society, especially in a spiritual action, when people act based on the instincts of the senses and the mind, it wreaks havoc, because it just reveals our inner nature, our real nature, that we are just being placed in a particular situation, and we could be very big preachers, but are we really resonating with the laws of the United Nations Charter or the laws of the country? It is a crime everywhere, and therefore, if we observe any of these things, we should take appropriate steps to see that we rectify it. And it's not everyone who is on that platform. But the point is that as a spiritualist, so much is expected from us. If we do not follow this very mental principle of recognizing everyone as part and parcel of Krishna and treat people equally, then we miss the whole point. Because the very basic principle, and we quote this text most cases when we are giving classes. Mama Eva, Loke, Jiva, Bhuta, Sanatana. We are part and parcel of Krishna. So how do you treat your part and parcel of Krishna? You treat your guru all nicely, and you treat black people, like dogs. You treat your guru nicely, and you treat white people like dogs. You treat your guru nicely, and you treat, grim people like dogs. That's a problem there. The thing is, it is not a spiritual problem. It is a crime, and should be. You see, this the point I give you. I've given you directives, approaches from the point of criminology, approaches from the point of the Vedic literature, that these are base qualities. Discrimination is a base quality. You should ask yourself, amongst your friends, who are your best friends? Is it people of the same color with your skin only? I have friends, but I don't have so many black friends. I don't have many black friends. The boy, even I'm telling you, I stay at his place, he's a white guy. And you know how we became friends? He had me give a talk one time in Boston. I visited Boston, I was staying at the temple, and he went to meet me that I should leave the temple and come to his place. That's how we became friends. That's how we became friends. He tell me everything. I became his counselor even about his family matters. So yeah, I'm a black guy, but I don't have many black friends. I walk my talk. I walk my talk. And therefore, it is important for us to say that we are not this body, but it is also important for us to act in that wise by treating everybody, whether they are devotees, they are non-devotees, whether they are blue, they are white, green, they are black, they are whatever. We should treat. And if you don't do that, you are acting against the laws of South Africa. and anybody can call. In New York, one lady, one white lady, she went to the park, and then there was a black guy who was a bird watcher. So the lady, she, the lady had a dog, unleashed her dog. So this guy, he works in the park there. So he said, he tried to correct the lady, and then the lady, just because he's a black guy, he cannot correct him. He cannot correct her. So she called the police that, one African American is trying to harm her and all these things. And then that discrimination resulted. She lost her job. She lost her job. She lost her dog, and she's being prosecuted. So don't take these things lightly. They are very serious things. If you identify discrimination in any organization, in your community, no, you should take it up. Any other comments?
Yes, Maharaj. We would like to just tell the devotees about your program on the 11th.
Okay.
We have the poster in the chat. It has all the Zoom details. And so the screen is being shared. So it has been stipulated, because it's a professional presentation to professionals, then I guess you have to dress formally, look decent for professional circles. But it is on August 11th. This is 5 p.m. This is South African time, GMT +2.
That time is South African time.
So as you can see, racial justice, leadership, an alternate corporate management approach to racial equality. So our Dr. Vasudev Das, who is Bhakti Vasudeva Swami, to us will be speaking. And I guess everyone's welcome, Maharaj, if they follow protocol. Yes. Okay. So yeah, I guess with your phone, take a screenshot if you don't have. Otherwise, we can send it to you on WhatsApp. There was a comment also. Maharaj, can you still hear?
Sure.
Paramahangsa Prabhu just wanted to say that thank you for your class and your comment on how we should be helpful to others and without wanting anything in return. He wants to testify that it's true in your case that he received some help from you in a difficult situation, and it was genuinely out of your concern to help, and that you didn't try to get something back out of that help. So he's appreciating that you are walking your talk on that point.
Thank you.
And so I think we are coming to the end. I think, yeah, the last question had to do with attending the webinar or the Zoom talk. And then so Maharaj will ask if you have some closing words to share with us.
What?
If you have any closing statements to share with us.
Okay. Yeah, the closing statement is again back to rasa. This is a very elevated topic. You chose it, so I just have to share with you. It is a very sophisticated topic in the Vaishnava tradition. And it is, although it is a very elevated topic, it is down to earth because this is something that we can relate with, relationship. And again, everybody, if if you ever go to social media, you want to sign up, but you see all these things, your relationship status. We do have a relationship with Krishna, but the general mass of people don't know, and we should be humble enough to not make ourselves as if we know everything. We should be ready to learn from even a new person who comes to our devotional community. We can learn something from that person. And in that way, we establish a good rapport with someone who comes, and by dint of our humble approach to that person, our service attitude to that person, that will help devotee to remain in our devotional culture. The other point is we be encouraging people to have good skills. The preachers, they should not go to the universities and ask people to drop their studies and come and move into our temples. They should cultivate those who are schooling them to finish their studies so that they could become better service to their families, to their communities, and to our devotional institution. In the past, we coerced people to leave the studies, to come into the movement, and then to be a devotee itself is not so easy. And so we should see it is a difficult thing to go on two sides. This Upanishad says we should cultivate science and nay-science side by side. But sometimes, we think that, that's too difficult. We want to choose only one side. So it is difficult, but it's good. It's better to do the difficult thing and attain great results sustainably for the betterment of our community and for our individual selves and the family of those devotees who are involved in our movement. So that's all I have to say. And thank you very much for participating in this Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. So, thank you very much to His Holiness Bhakti Vasudeva Swami for the wonderful class. And thank you to all the devotees for coming and hearing and participating with your questions. So, I hope to see the seminar you're giving on the 11th, and maybe next week or in the week at the webinar. So Srila Prabhupada. So just to close, we will chant one Maha Mantra together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, everybody. Hare Rama.